we are back. I am Pastor Kara. I am your pastor, and I am so excited to be here with you today. And let's get started with some worship. We have a new verse today, so I want to share it with you. It's from Isaiah 40, verse 28. The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. Isaiah 40, verse 28. That word fathom is kind of a funny one, eh? It means that no one can understand or nobody can comprehend his understanding. Cool, huh? So I want to try to do this in a fun way. So I'm going to say a couple words and then I want you to repeat them out loud. And I want to see if maybe you can be so loud your parents tell you to be quiet. And you can say, no, I'm learning a verse. So here we go. I'm going to say a few words. You repeat them, okay? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. Isaiah 40, verse 28. Great job. Now, this is my fun part. I love this part. I'm going to say it in like a cool voice, and I want you to try to mimic me, okay? And so we're going to do this again, little sections at a time so we can try to remember, okay? So I'm going to try to be Batman, okay? The Lord is the everlasting God. You repeat it. I want to hear your Batman voice. The creator of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. Isaiah 40, verse 28. I'm going to try one that's maybe a little bit easier for me, and I want to hear it for you too, okay? And if you record it and hashtag Westlife YYC, I'm going to be able to see it, and I can't wait, okay? So this is what I want you to do. I want you to try your best Barbie voice, okay? Are you ready? Here we go. The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and like his understanding, no one can fathom. Isaiah 40, verse 28. Awesome. I want you to totally record it, get your parents to record it, and share it with me. Email it to me because I want to hear your best voice impressions. And if you have better ideas, tell me. So we did Batman today. That wasn't a very good Batman. And we did Barbie. Sometimes we do Under the Water. But you send it to me and we will do it next week, okay? So great memory work. All right, so we're going to get into our story. I don't know if you noticed my beautiful artwork. I'm not very good, but today we're heading into Egypt. That's right, Egypt. It's amazing. So our story starts in Egypt. And so I just had a question though. Like I have this thing, and I don't know if you can see it there. There we go. Oh, it's backwards, but that's okay. Do you guys remember? Do you know what this is? It's a calendar, and that's right. I was looking through my calendar, and I noticed that it's Thanksgiving. But I don't know if you noticed my calendar. It actually says October 2019. So this one's a little bit old. Maybe I need to get a new calendar. And this is kind of the start of our story that God, he gave the Israelites this amazing celebration, kind of like Thanksgiving. I'm so excited. Like we eat turkey and we hang out and in my family we play games, but we love Thanksgiving. And then we remember to be thankful to God, right? For all the things that he's provided us. So this is my calendar, and today we're going to talk about some celebration that God gave the Israelites called the Passover. And so, if you remember last week, so let's go back to last week. Last week was all about Moses. Pastor Quinn taught us about the little babe who then got taken in by the Egyptian princess, and it was so nice and lovely. So we're going to fast forward a little bit into Moses' life. So Moses grew up. He ended up leaving Egypt because he did something that made the Pharaoh really mad, and so he fled for his life to another place, and he stayed there for a while, and God met him there and asked him to do a secret mission. Well, not really secret, but he wanted him to go on a mission. He wanted him to go and ask Pharaoh to free the Israelites. Crazy. So Moses goes back to Egypt, the place where he fled, and he goes back to Pharaoh. And he says, so Pharaoh, nice to see ya, but I was wondering if maybe you'd be willing to let your slaves go. So you need to remember that Pharaoh thinks that he's a god. He thinks that he's a really big deal. And so I'm sure that Mr. Big Shot Pharaoh was not so excited when Moses asked him to free his slaves. In fact, he says, no, and kind of shoos Moses away. So in response to Pharaoh, God sends these plagues. He sends 10 plagues. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 plagues. And we're going to go through them today. So I got my handy cheat sheet, and we are going to do this. Okay, so round 1, it's like Pharaoh, when he says no to Moses, is like challenging God to a fight. So ding, ding, we're going to fight. So round 1, it's God turns the Nile, which is this massive river in the middle of Egypt, into blood. Gross! Excuse me. So this beautiful river gets turned into blood. And you have to remember, this is like the source of all of Egypt's water. They travel on it. So this is a really big deal. And so then Moses goes back to Pharaoh and says, hey, let my people go. And Pharaoh says, no. Do you believe it? No. So round 1, no. All right. So then we go to round 2. Round 2, God sends frogs. That's right, frogs all across Egypt. They're hopping into bed, they're hopping all over the floors, they're hopping through the lights. Everywhere has frogs. Could you imagine? Ooh, little froggies everywhere. And they were climbing into like their food and yuck, yuck, yuck. I'm all about frogs, but you know, like, if it's everywhere, that's kind of gross. But that did not change Pharaoh's mind. Pharaoh said no. So every time I say Pharaoh said, let's see if you can guess what he said. Yes or no? Frogs? No. All right. So round 3. God sent another plague to show his power over the fake gods of Egypt. God sent gnats. Ooh, again with the bugs. Ooh, bugs, yuck. Round 4. God sends flies to ruin the land. And Pharaoh still says no. And then, round 5, he sends a plague that kills the Egyptian animals. Do you think that after all of this, we got frogs, we got gnats, we got flies, we got river that's blood, we got animals that are dying everywhere, don't you think he would say, like, okay, yeah, like, if it's going to take these people to leave, like, just leave. Like, this is too much for me. But Pharaoh says no. So then we get to round 6, and God sends these massive, oozing, gross sores to the Egyptians. And they cover everywhere, and they're gross. Woo, gross. And what do you think Pharaoh says? No, that's right. So we go into round 7. Round 7, God also proved his control. It proves that he can control the weather. And he sends this terrible hailstorm. Do you know what hail is? Do you remember when the kind of like, they look like ice? They kind of, some of the ones that we get here in Calgary, they can be as big as like tennis balls, but like normally they're like little coin size. They can wreck cars and windows and all those things. So this is like really a big deal. Like these giant balls of ice are falling from the sky. And what do you think Pharaoh says? No! Now round 8, he sends a plague of locusts. Yuck. Locusts are like grasshoppers. Yeah. So, and the Bible tells us that there were so many that it covered the ground, and the ground looked black. That's a lot of locusts. I think I'd be like sending these people away, don't you? But round 8, Pharaoh says no. Okay, so then we get into round 9. And it says that God covered Egypt with total darkness. Are you still there? Yeah, darkness. Do you think Pharaoh let the people go? No. This guy is really crazy. My goodness, there's a lot of things happening. So even so, Pharaoh still wouldn't let God's people go. Again, he said no. And this time, he told Moses to never come back. Then God delivered his people from Egypt by sending one final plague. Now this plague was pretty serious, and God knew that by sending this plague, his people would be free. So God sent a plague that killed all of the firstborn sons, and it was very sad. But God knew that it would give his people a new life. before God sent this final plague, he made some plans for his people. God knew that when they left Egypt, where they had been living for 430 years, they would be starting a whole new life. So he gave them instructions for their new life. First, God gave them a new calendar. No more using this old calendar. He gave them a new one. God knew that his people would celebrate the day they left Egypt as one of the most important days in their history. And they called this the celebration of the Passover. When God was about to deliver his final plague, he told his people to put the blood of a lamb on the doorpost of their homes. Let's read the Bible together, because sometimes it's always good to open up the Bible. So we're going to turn together to Exodus 12, verse 13. So if you want to find Exodus, we go to our Bible, and we have the New Testament, which is the first section, and the Old Testament, which is the second section. And Exodus is like the second book of the Bible. So it's not very far into the Bible. And we're going to look for the big number 12. And we're going to look for verse 13, which is the little number. And this is what it says. But the blood on your doorpost will serve as a sign, marking the houses where you are staying. When you see the blood, I will pass over you. The plague of death will not touch you when I strike Egypt. So God told his people to make a Passover meal by taking a lamb, roasting it over a fire of herbs, and eating it with flatbread. God also told them to get ready to leave Egypt, because once he freed them from Egypt, they would have to leave in a hurry. So God tells them all these instructions to put the blood over their doorpost so that God knows that that's one of his people. And then he tells them, like, here's what you're going to eat. You need to be all ready. We need to be ready to go, because this is going to happen, and it's going to happen fast. So after the Israelites put the blood over their doorpost and sat down to eat their meal, God brought the last plague. He passed over the Israelites' houses because the doors were covered with the lamb's blood. By doing this, he showed the Egyptians and the Israelites once and for all that he was the one true God who gave new life. Since God had given his people instructions ahead of time, they were dressed and ready to go when the Egyptians released them. The whole nation of Israel, about 2 million people, that's a lot of people, 2 million people plus their animals walked out of Egypt. God gave his people a new life where they could be free to worship him. But wait, it does not end there. When Pharaoh realized the Israelites were gone, he changed his mind, so he gathered his army. This is crazy. And chased after them. But God wasn't about to leave his people. Exodus 14, verse 4. So we're going to flip our Bibles again. Look for the big 14 and the little 4. Says this, and once again I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he will chase after you. I have planned this in order to display my glory through Pharaoh and his whole army. After this, the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord. So the Israelites camped there as they were told. Here we go. Back to the story. Finally, the Egyptians caught up with the Israelites near the sea, and the Israelites were terrified. But Moses told them, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance of the Lord will bring you today." God told Moses to stretch his staff over the sea, and when he did, the water piled up so that the Israelites could walk through the dry ground. The Egyptians tried to chase after them, but their wheels got stuck in the mud. Oh man. And once the Israelites were on the other side, the wall of water swished together and covered the Egyptians. Ta-ta. The Israelites were amazed and shouted for joy. Again and again, God proves to his people that he is the Lord, the one who hears our cries and gives us new life. He gives us new life today too. The Bible says God's Son Jesus is called the Lamb of God. Just like the blood of the Lamb over the doorpost, Jesus is called the Lamb of God. And like the blood of the Lamb saved the people of God from death, the death of Jesus makes a way for us to be saved too. When we trust and obey Jesus, we receive life. God still gives people new life. Though we may not be slaves in a foreign country like Israel, we still need God to give us a new life in Him. Just as the Israelites celebrate the freedom and the new life God gave them, we celebrate freedom and new life He offers us today. So, thanks for listening. This is awesome. What a great story. I'm reminded that new life in Jesus is so important, and I know that even Pastor Kara, myself, I need Jesus to help me with my day and with my attitude and how I talk to people. And I know without God, I make mistakes all the time, and with Jesus, He helps me be a better person, and He makes me like Him. And so I need Jesus. So if you want to talk more about what it means to have a relationship with Jesus, you can always talk to me about it. And I know it's a little weird because we don't see each other anymore, but you can always get your parents to email me, or you can email me with your parents' permission at care@westlifechurch.ca, and I would love to talk to you about that. It's very exciting. And in addition to that, sometimes we do these things called baptism. And these baptism services, if you've ever been with us at Westlife, us kids, we go right up to the front in the splash zone. And the splash zone, we celebrate these people that have given their lives to Jesus and have decided that they want to follow Jesus for the rest of their life. And we celebrate with them. Just like the Israelites celebrate Passover or we celebrate Thanksgiving, this is our opportunity as Christians to celebrate people who have chosen to follow Jesus. So I say this for two reasons. We're going to have baptisms coming up, and if you're interested in baptism, I'd encourage you to talk to your mom and dad and have them reach out to me, and I'd be happy to talk about what those next steps might look like for you. And if not, I want to make sure that when we have baptisms, you're watching it online with our church family, because I think it's really cool that we get to celebrate with people as they choose Jesus to be a part of their life and choose a new life. So thanks for listening with me today, and I hope that you have a great day and a great Thanksgiving. See you next time.